Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have two products I'm really excited to share with you. These are cream products new from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I've got their cream bronzer and their stick blush. Are you all ready gonna start? Okay, first interruption under our belts. I'm anticipating multiple interruptions from this video just because of what's going on in my house this weekend. As I was saying, I picked up the cream bronzer and the stick blush from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I've got my base products on. Interruption number two. I've got my base products on already, foundation, concealer. I'll link those things down below for you guys, but I wanted to go in and review these with you, show you how I wear them, how I apply them, and you're definitely gonna wanna get in on these. So let's start with the cream bronzer. I purchased this in shade Golden Tan. A little bit of a warning about this for my fair-skinned viewers. This is the lightest shade that they offer it in. It is a very inclusive range. So a little bit is gonna go a long way because it's actually pretty dark, for me anyway, for as far as bronzers go. So tip number one, look at this. Do you see how I pressed through that nice smooth seal that you can still see around the edges to get down into the good stuff, into the product, in the pot, kind of mixed it up a little bit? That is what you're gonna want to do to get the best payoff with this product. So I'm gonna scoop out a little bit and just throw it on my hand so you can see what we're dealing with. You really do not need much of this product, you guys. A little goes a long way. That is way too much for even just a swatch. So here's what it looks like. It's super thick. It's a very substantive bronzer, but it blends out lighter than air. And when you see how I do this on my face, you're really gonna see, do you see this, like how little was on my hand and how much? I could keep pushing that around. So it looks pretty thick, but it's lighter than air. It's very moisturizing. It's not at all waxy. I feel like a lot of these cream bronzers that I have tried in the past, they are patchy, they drag when I try to apply them on the skin, and so I don't get a nice blend out. So the way that I apply this is, I'll just use what's left on my little swatch spatula here, is I get some on a densely packed bristle brush. And then what I like to do, just a little bit more on there, and then I'll go right onto my cheek with it where I would typically apply my bronzer, just because it's cream, we're not really changing that. But I'm gonna go in with this kind of Bob Ross-esque pat, 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 pat. And then what I've found easiest to do is apply with the brush, blend with the fingers. And the reason for this is that a lot of that will stay on your brush, and you want to be able to blend it out before you go in layering and layering and layering more and more product. So I'm just going to get a little bit more out of the pot onto the back of my hand using that kind of like a palette, and I'm going to load my brush that way as opposed to just dipping right into the pot. And I'm just going to keep going here until I'm happy. And do you see how well that's blending out? Like there's no patchiness. It's very easy. It's very responsive to the finger blend. Troublemaker. It's very responsive to being blended out with the fingers. I feel like certain products, when you blend with the fingers, your fingers are lifting it right off of your face. Not the case with these products from Anastasia. So let's go in and get this other cheek. And you'll notice, you guys, smooth, not patchy at all, not waxy. This is a very lighter than air, feels like nothing on the skin, kind of a cream bronzer. And then I'm just gonna take a little bit, tiny, tiny bit, just with what's left on the back of my hand. And I kind of put this on other parts of my face where the sun is naturally going to be hitting, so we don't have just bronze right on the cheeks. And you can see what a glow this is giving me, how I look like I've been out in the sun. Like this is like a fresh back from the beach brightness, and I just love it. So I'm not gonna go in any heavier than that because as you can see, I did not use a lot of product and I have no sunless tanner on right now, and I'm already looking pretty bronzed out. So let's level that out a little bit by using the stick blush. So the Anastasia Beverly Hills stick blush, I purchased this in the shade Pink Dahlia, which was a little bit of a risk for me. This is basically the color of the shirt that I'm wearing, and I was very apprehensive about this. So I'm just gonna go in. This was just one stripe on the back of my hand. I'm gonna be able to blend this out really, really nicely. So layering is always a good thing. Application tip for this one, I'm gonna take the same stipple brush that I use for really fluidy liquid blushes. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go in across the top of that stick blush, and then I'm just gonna build using the brush on my cheek. And doing that is just gonna prevent you from kind of just like a pigment bomb right on your face if you were to go in like that and then have to push it out. This just creates a much more natural blush. And because it's like that sort of stipple brush as opposed to the super densely packed one that we used with the bronzer, you can get a really nice natural blush, and you can kind of blend it out with the brush itself because there's not a ton of product sitting on your bristles. So here we go, just really lightly. I feel like this is when Bob Ross would have said something about happy little trees. And if you do feel like you get a little bit heavy-handed with it, patting it out with your finger, I would still say just go with the fingers instead of grabbing a sponge or something that's going to really dramatically change the effect. So then whatever's left on my bristles, same thing, I'm going to go back in, kind of overlapping those areas where there was bronzer. And there we go. So you guys, super, super easy and intuitive. Some of these cream and liquid products, not easy, not intuitive. They do take quite a bit of skill to get a nice natural blend out. Look at the glow. Look at how much pigment I am getting. I can also tell you from the past times I have played with these, when I set my makeup with a powder, I am not gonna lose any of that pigment. Because these are so bold, because these are so nice and thick. Background noise and interruption. We're just gonna power through it. Just gonna power through it. Because they have so much pigment, because you get so much bang for your buck with these products, even if you go in with a mattifying powder, you're not gonna lose the impact. You might lose a little bit of this sort of like reflective sheen, but go in with a little bit of highlighter on top of your powder and you'll be good to go. So I was pleasantly surprised by these products. These have shot to the top of my list in terms of the cream products for bronzers and blushes because of the fact they are so lightweight. The bronzer in particular looks really thick on the back of the hand, on the brush. I can't even feel it on my skin, and it just makes me feel absolutely radiant. So Anastasia Beverly Hills knocked it out of the park with their cream bronzer and their stick blush. I will link these down below for you guys. Go check them out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.